Story 1. Am I the asshole for exposing my cousin's creepy husband to my entire family? I, 22 female, met my cousin's husband, 24 female and 26 male, last July for their wedding. They live several states away, so in addition to meeting him for the first time, it was also the first time I had seen my cousin in a few years. I instantly got a bad vibe from him, and he made several comments that rubbed me the wrong way. He told me I seemed like a wild child and said he would bet I'm a bad girl at my college. Since meeting him, he has followed me on Instagram and sporadically sends me reels, which I don't open, and comments odd things on my posts like, "looking good cousin." He even direct messaged me once saying, "Hey, I'll be in your state this weekend on business, lol," which I never opened either. All of this definitely creeped me out, but I didn't feel like I could say anything about it because my cousin and I aren't close, and I've always felt like she looks down on me because she is a devout Christian and I am not. Fast forward to this week, one of those fake accounts on Instagram popped up with some of my pictures asking for money for X-rated pictures. The bio was in broken English, the pictures were poorly cropped screenshots of my two most recent posts, and the Cash App was a random string of numbers and letters. The account just looked very fake, and many of my friends sent it to me and reported the account. Of course, the one person who apparently fell for it was my cousin's husband. I then got a very long, nasty direct message from my cousin telling me she had been very tolerant of my sinful lifestyle, whatever that means, but this time I had gone too far. She said she didn't care that we were family, and so long as I was posing a threat to her marriage, I was no longer welcome in their lives. I calmly and politely responded that this account was not me, that I had already reported the account to Instagram to be taken down, and I apologized for the apparent disruption to her day. She responded that she didn't believe me and said she pities me for having such low self-esteem and would keep me in her prayers. I lost it at this point. I called her stupid for falling for an account that was so obviously fake and said that her husband was such a blatant creep it was embarrassing she even married him. I sent screenshots of the months of direct messages from him that I never responded to and concluded by saying, "If your marriage is so easily threatened, get a divorce. Don't take your insecurities out on me." Shortly after, I got angry phone calls from my mom and my grandma, saying my cousin made an honest mistake and that my response was cruel and unjustified. Apparently, my cousin showed everyone our messages and is humiliated by what I said. My mom is worried our relationship with that side of the family is permanently damaged, and now I may not be welcome at future family gatherings because my grandma doesn't want the drama. I really don't feel like my response was out of line, but since no one else agrees with me, I'm not sure. So, am I the asshole? Story 2. Am I the asshole for taking the cake I baked for my fiancé's birthday and going home? I, 25 female, and my fiancé, 31 male, Ben, don't have the best relationship with his mom. I try my best to be polite around her, but she's the type to have high standards and expectations for whoever dates her sons. She has 3. She has commented on my hair and body several times and even suggested cosmetic surgeries for the future. This upsets me, but Ben tells me this is just how she is and that I need to learn to have a thick skin, as she often doesn't mean to be malicious. Anyway, I'm known for baking cakes and sweets. Ben eats what I make, but whenever I bring something for his family to try, they always find excuses not to eat it. I'm okay with that and eventually stopped bringing anything. For Ben's 31st birthday, his mom wanted to host the party. I decided to bake him his birthday cake, and he was thrilled about it. I went grocery shopping, took time off work, and put so much effort into making it just how he likes it. I took the cake with me to his mom's house, and to my surprise, when I walked in, I saw a large birthday cake sitting on the dining table. I was puzzled. His mom said she had ordered the cake from a bakery and paid a significant amount of money for it. I asked, "What about the cake I made?" She responded, "Oh, you can place it on the counter over there, and we'll let the kids have it." It felt like ice was dropped all over me. I looked at Ben, and he nodded at me in a way that said, "Just do it." I was so mad, and the cake was still in my hands at the time. I turned around and made my way to the door. His mom remained standing, but Ben followed me, asking where I was going. I told him that he didn't need my cake, and by extension, he didn't need me, since my efforts were so easily dismissed and disrespected. He said I was overreacting and that his mom paid so much for that cake, so it was only fair that he accept it. He begged me to come back inside and do him a favor by just going with the flow, but I decided to go home. He got mad and started saying I was being unreasonable and stirring up drama over nothing. I went home, and he didn't come back until 11 p.m. He was so upset and said that he and his family didn't appreciate my childish behavior, that I ruined his party, and that I disrespected his mom. He told me I turned this into a huge deal and should have acted more maturely instead of walking out with the cake. Am I the asshole for taking the cake and walking out? Story 3. Am I the asshole for being really crude to my nosy aunt about my sex life? For some reason, whenever my aunt calls and catches up with the family, she really picks on me. She sees me as the slutty one in the family with a steady stream of boyfriends. I've only had like half a dozen, and I'm nearly 25, for heaven's sake. Still, compared to her 23-year-old, pitch-perfect, valedictorian daughter, I guess I'm easy pickings. This past week, she had the nerve to bring up my dating life on a family call with my cousin, my older sister, and my dad. She made some silly comment about how I'm getting along without meeting my boyfriend that often, implying, of course, that I must be hungry and thirsty for sex, unlike her perfect little girl. Then she made a really bad comment about how I should be careful because you never know when you could get pregnant. That's why her daughter is waiting to get engaged. Little did she know, but my cousin and I are tight, so I wouldn't rat her out. In the heat of the moment, I responded, "Don't worry, I make sure it's only on my face each time. No chance of pregnancy there." My sister thought it was hilarious, my dad stifled a laugh, but my aunt was mortified. She huffed and puffed about how rude I was and how inappropriate it was to bring that up in a family conversation. Wait, sex lives are inappropriate in family conversations? Wouldn't have known it from talking to her. Apparently, my aunt and my dad had a long call afterward, and she had the nerve to tell me to apologize to her for setting a bad example for her perfect daughter. Sigh. I just did something lukewarm to ease off the family drama, but am I the asshole here? Story 4. Am I the asshole for refusing to change my baby's name after I named her after my dad's affair partner? I, 26 female, just gave birth to my daughter, Annabelle. I didn't announce the name beforehand because, in the past, one of my family members stole a baby name, which created a lot of drama. My mom wanted to know, but I was adamant about keeping it a secret. My mom and dad were in the room when I gave birth, and when it was time for me to sign the birth certificate, my mom asked for the name. I told her it was Annabelle. Her face went pale, and my dad didn't look too happy, but he said he loved the name. My mom left a few minutes later, claiming she didn't feel well. She said she'd come over in a few days to help with the baby. Now that I'm home with the baby, my mom hasn't talked to me that much. We used to talk every day, so I was confused by this sudden behavior. My sister, Emily, still lives with my mom, so I called her over to talk. When she arrived, she explained that she overheard mom and dad arguing because, about 10 years ago, dad had an affair with a coworker named Annabelle. Mom hasn't been talking to him, and he's been trying to get her to talk. I guess my dad realized Emily had come over, so he decided to come over himself. He asked if there was any way I could change Annabelle's name. I asked him why, to see if he would tell me the truth. And he did. He admitted to the affair. He begged my mom not to leave him, and she stayed, but just hearing that name had always put her in a bad headspace. I told him I couldn't change it because Annabelle was the name of my husband's grandmother, who helped raise him. My dad begged and pleaded for me to reconsider, saying that my mom was in the middle of packing her bags and heading to her sister's house. I told him I wouldn't change her name because it means so much to me and my husband. He began to raise his voice, and my sister immediately yelled back, telling him to get the hell out. She told him not to stress me out over a mess he created. He left immediately. I'm not changing my baby's name, but I feel like this is tearing the family apart. What should I do? Small edit, Annabelle isn't her real name. Her actual name only has 3 letters, so a nickname based on it wouldn't be possible. A lot of you have suggested changing her first name to her middle name, but her middle name is my mom's name, and I don't want to change that. Story 5. Am I the asshole for not inviting family members to my wedding? This goes back 3 years when my mom and her girlfriend got engaged. My mom put so much time and energy into organizing this wedding and was incredibly excited. She sent out invitations to all our family members 4 months in advance, and almost everyone confirmed they would be going. Barely a week before the wedding, she received several messages from aunts and uncles who said they wouldn't be attending because they had other commitments, despite confirming their attendance months earlier. One of my aunts, my grandma's sister, confronted my mom and said that many weren't going because they still didn't agree with the fact that she was marrying a woman, including herself, because it went against her Christian views. Meanwhile, my hardcore Christian grandma was more than happy to walk my mom down the aisle. This upset my mom, but she tried not to let it ruin her wedding. I, however, was furious. Only my grandma, my mom's sister, a few cousins, and another aunt attended the wedding, while my stepmom's entire family came. What really pissed me off was that 2 weeks later, my cousin, who lives in a totally different state, celebrated her sweet 16. Everyone who had made excuses about not going to my mom's wedding made the journey all the way there and posted pictures all over Facebook. It really broke my mom's heart and just felt like salt in the wound. I swore then that when I got married, everyone who didn't show up to my mom's wedding would not be invited to mine. Fast forward to now, my girlfriend of 2 years and I got married in the first week of March, and I kept my word. The only ones we invited to our wedding were the family members who had attended my mom's wedding, plus one other aunt who had a valid reason for not being there at the time. She was recovering from surgery. We even invited my stepmom's family too. Obviously, my other family members found out and expressed their hurt over not being invited. I called them all out and said that if they had a problem with my mom for being who she is, then they had a problem with me, and I wouldn't let toxic people be part of such a special day for me and my wife. My wife stood behind my decision, as did my mom. That still doesn't seem to stop them from thinking it was a rude move, and they are turning it into a whole family drama because they believe it was unfair to punish them for simply believing in something different. Am I the asshole? Edit. Wow, thank you so much for all the love and support, everyone. My wife is getting a kick out of these replies, and I'll respond to some when I have the chance. Also, I know some of you were confused, so I wanted to clarify that I am, in fact, a guy. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below.